welcome back to my YouTube channel, to the Mystical Babies podcast. Today I have a super special guest, Sofia Su. She is just a complete beauty, but I also have like an official introduction written for her that I'd love to, share with you. Today I get to introduce someone who feels like a walking permission slip to live as you are. Sofia Su. Sofia is Vietnamese Chinese, raised in Norway. She's an entrepreneur, community builder, emotional chaos enthusiast, and a professional believer in creating your own reality. She doesn't do perfect, she does real. Her philosophy is simple. Confidence is built by trying, failing, looking a little stupid, and doing it again with more glitter, which I love. I love sparkle, so I connect with that deeply. Through her work, she's created spaces where sexuality, feelings, freedom can exist without shame, building communities rooted in play, honesty, consent, and chosen family. She blends business with heart, leadership with softness, and believes relationships are the real infrastructure of any meaningful life and connection. What I love about Sofia is how she turns her lived experience into like living medicine, inviting people to be braver in their bodies, kinder with their emotions by just her beingness. It's not like she promotes anything or has a specific philosophy. It's just how she's so bolder in her desires that truly inspires me, and why I have her on the podcast today. So please welcome the queen. Yeah. Sophia.
Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you. I'm almost getting a little bit emotional as well, a little bit touched. So thank you for seeing me and yes, introducing me in that kind way.
Oh, I mean every word of it, because like I was just telling you before I hit record, Sophia, like I've connected with her through Instagram, I think via another friend who I really feel like is very inspiring. And I remember when I stumbled upon your profile, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's something very magnetic about you, like, and how you carry yourself. And there's like truth and honesty and vulnerability. So could you introduce yourself officially to my community and let them know what I'm talking about and like you're a real person? Yeah.
Yes, like who I am. It's quite a big question. I felt like you did a very good job. But
Yeah,
yes,
right.
I am Sofia Su. I am, yes, Chinese Vietnamese. I'm also half Norwegian. I was born in America, so I'm also a little bit American in there,
Oh,
in Virginia.
oh my
Yeah, well, right now
gosh.
it's not.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I know.
I'm going
It
I'm
hurt.
going to a wedding now and I'm like, in America, I have to go back. Oh, right now I'm like, you
You don't
guys
want
need
to
to come over
claim
to
it.
Norway. Hey,
Exactly.
come over to Europe, guys.
Right.
Americans are really bad at traveling outside of their borders.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And Norwegian just sounds way cooler, than being American right now. Just way cooler. So out in Norway, you have this beautiful property, right? That you've turned into like a playful space, right?
Mhm.
So can you talk about that? Because it seems like, you run events there and do really cool stuff. So I would love to learn a little bit more about that.
Yes. So I had a restaurant and bar before, so that was kind of like my test round of how to run something and how to fix stuff and how to interior design and make a cozy environment for people, so people feel more like curious and safer in that way. And then I always dreamt of my own house because I have been running events since 2018. And I've been just renting Airbnbs, having friends of friends, and it's kind of been very stressful and it's a lot of work to, prep like 6 hours before an event, and the event is just for one day, and then you have to down rig it as well.
Mm.
So having my own home has always been a long dream, and then from idea to finally getting it took me 4 years, and finally having a space that I can just do literally whatever I want and put every little detail to make it perfect for an event, to make it smooth, to make it efficient, and to really keep it more inviting. in Norway, especially, usually all interior design is white and gray. We're very known for white and gray is the norm here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm coming in and no, let's do pink, let's do green, let's do blue, let's do all the different colors. And so really make it alive. And then I also like it's a 320 square meter. I don't know what that is in your units.
I wish I was that smart to figure that out, but I'm not. Yeah.
It's a villa that is 3 stories basically. I think the funnest part was the basement because that was like, okay, I make my own play dungeon. How do I do that? And when it comes to like having a living room, okay, you have a sofa, it's kind of like the standard or kitchen, you have a dining table. Okay, but dungeon, what is that supposed to look like? And the only kind of inspiration that you do have today is like black leather BDSM culture. It's very dark. And I was like, okay, so how do we do it then? And then I had an architect who just gave me some ideas of like, we should have a room that's just pink and fluffy, or you can have like a forest with like a sex swing and a fireplace, and then the BDSM room can be more an opera. I was like, yes, okay, now we're talking. So that was much more a freedom of creativity to really create something that doesn't have any boxes or structures they have to do to fill it in that way. So it's been a journey to create my own sanctuary, a place where I can just be and I can really follow my own rhythm and really feel at ease. I live there alone, which for me, living from an apartment where I was a shared like collective and always had to like, take consideration for people. And then finally like, no, I can do whatever I want. And there's also like, I didn't know how sensitive my nervous system was to other people and to their energies. It gave me such of a freedom and also groundness to just find like, okay, this is my space and really go with my flow. So it's definitely a dream house. I have always, of course, some challenges with neighbors or things don't work and things break, and it is, but what I'm focusing now on is actually also more collaboration with other people. Because before I've been always hosting myself, and that's a lot of responsibility. And now we're going into, okay, who wants to collab with me? Who wants to make a great retreat, party, or event in my house? And I can actually be a guest now and not have to work all the time. So this is more like the exciting part we're heading into.
I love that so much. I especially love the part where when you're moving from a smaller place to a bigger space, and then you're like, okay, well, how am I going to fill this space up with me? And what I love, right? It's so hard to like expand in that way. But I love how you kind of take it with curiosity and kind of playfulness of, okay, what can this be like? I'm like that too. I don't like darkness in my space, even though I love exploring shadows, but they don't have to be like necessarily a dungeon, right? So it's like that's what you're doing. You're allowing your self-expression to be bright and to explore the shadows like in a brightness almost, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do use dark colors. I have my room is dark green in that way. And that was also funny when I was painting it. I was like, oh damn. And it was dark. I'm like, it's pitch dark. Okay, right. We can lean into the darkness now. We gotta embrace the dark rooms and like the dark spaces because it is out in the country. So there's very little other light out there. But more of expression of like, okay, how much a room actually affects yourself and your mental health and your body and your nervous system. And it's funny how I get so many people coming in like, I feel like I can rest here. I feel at home. And it says how much like importance it is of what we surround us with and what kind of lighting and what kind of materials and or how many plants you also have.
Yeah, like it's activating to the senses. It can be grounding, it can be uplifting, and it has different impacts on different people, it sounds like. Wow. So where did this idea begin? I guess like, were you always this like an entrepreneur with spaces? Because you're so creative. Like every single time I see you on Instagram, you're sharing how to make soaps and beautiful butters and like skin butters and balms, and so you're super creative, and then it just turns into like a business. which I love. Like, it's
Mhm.
not like you're like, you know, what's happening in the world right now. It's like we have insane consumerism and capitalism, but I think this is like heart-centered entrepreneurship, like what you're
Mhm.
doing. So I'd love to like explore that with you.
So your question was where did it started?
Yeah,
Was
where did
that?
it start the entrepreneurship? Yeah.
I think I think it's definitely connected to my hyper independency. In many ways. It's also to do, with my astrology and who I am of Aquarius and, and all this in a Capricorn. But
And you have a
it's
Scorpio moon. I think that's what you
yes,
wrote
I
on your
do.
website, right? So it's like
Mhm.
deep,
Yes.
dark, go in
Action.
there. Yes.
Yes.
I have a Scorpio rising, so I get it.
Aha,
Yeah,
yes.
I get it. Yeah.
Nice. But yes, the entrepreneurship kind of came to like, okay, it's not nothing out there. Okay, what do? I want it. Okay, cool. Then I just have to do it myself. And that became my coping mechanism when, being one of the few people of color in a Norwegian school, moving when I was 7, that kind of always made me the outsider. And so my coping mechanism then was like, well, fuck you. I don't need you then. And then I became super independent instead and learning by failing and learning by doing. So that and yes, and then just my brain just keeps going of, oh, we can do this. Oh, we can do this. So for me, it's more like, no, Sophia, you do not need to do everything. And that's also what I'm working with now is that the reason also why I feel like I have to do stuff is that I automatically take responsibility for stuff, for the world, what's happening in the world, and wanted to go travel to both Africa and Asia to volunteer at nonprofit organizations for children in need. That was also me taking responsibility for the world problem. Did I do any help? Not really. That whole system is just corrupt. But and then same here, like with now connection. I'm also taking a lot of responsibility for connection because I don't find it. I don't know where to go. So I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta do it. So that has also been like the driving force of entrepreneurship is that I'm willing to take responsibility for stuff. And now it's been like I've been taking too much responsibility for everything. So now I'm like, okay, we need to step back, rest a little bit more, and let things come to me and be more in my feminine, basically, and surrender more. And let's see what brings or what comes.
Right. So it's almost like you're relaxing into your feminine and receiving more rather than doing the masculine. Let's get this done. Let's create the space. Right. Which it seems like it got you started in the
Yeah, yeah, I'm
entrepreneurship.
super grateful for where I'm at. I
Right.
wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have this house and a car if I didn't
Mm,
go hard. But
yeah.
going hard works, well, I guess, when you're young and have a lot of energy and are naive and just like has that extra capacity. But it doesn't work in the long run. Like
You get
that is
burnt
not
out.
sustainable. Yes.
Yeah, you absolutely get burnt out. And our systems, like you're talking about the nervous system, it needs like rest, nourishment, relaxation, and moving slow, to feel itself, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I love that. Are you in the magical house right now? Is that the
No, I'm actually at
okay?
my grandparents',
Okay.
actually.
Oh, I see. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're in the magical house.
Yeah,
Um,
no, you see, it's a lot of whites here, so no.
yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, so it's maybe the one white room in the house, right?
I do have one right room. I do.
Okay, okay. We'll give it to you. So yeah. So now that you're in like your feminine, I see that you're exploring more like it seems like Shibari, is it? Like the Japanese art form. So how did that come into play? Because it's like, you're doing so many art performances too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That has also just kind of came to me. Shibari, I kind of always been interested in more or less since I first like saw it on some kind of art gallery or and also Instagram as well. Um, but I didn't learn it before like 8 years ago when I went to a course, and then it was also just my it's the aesthetics. Oh, cool. It's tying, and there's like a recipe, and it was much more of a logical. It wasn't before I actually did it with a partner I had to really understand, wow, it's actually super emotional. It's about intimacy and about connection. It was like förlängelse. Oh, gud, my English now. My
Unfolding.
extension of my
Oh.
feelings. The rope was it. So I noticed how, yeah, emotional it was, and the part of, finally surrendering in a life where we have so much responsibility and so much stress and so much things we need to hold, and then creating a space where you actually can just let go, and how much healing that can actually bring. Or also the opposite of, if you don't feel like you have so much control in your everyday life, finally getting that control in a kind of safe container is super empowering, and really can boost your confidence as well. So that is just like a new creative field where I feel like I just scratched the surface, and there's so much more depth to it, and also about like unity of really connecting with someone and how deep you can go into that. So yes, and then also doing in performances, and I had my first self-suspension where I tied myself up.
I saw
And
that.
that was,
I was in tears.
yes.
I was in tears when I saw that. That's why I was
Hmm.
like, oh my God, I have to have her on. But go ahead, continue. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing me in that. But yeah, no, that was next level, I would say. Just because I did not expect it to be so emotional. Yes, I usually often cry when I am tying up somebody else, just because I am feeling them and connecting with them and just feeling this immense gratitude for having this person in front of me. But tying myself is also in that journey of finally holding myself. Because I have abandonment wounds, and always like kind of seeking somebody else to save me or to heal me. And I was always kind of been resistant to be like taking care of myself. And that has been a long journey. And this was kind of like one part of it of actually like, okay, I can hold myself. I can take care of myself and my body. And how does that feel? And that was the emotional part. I was like, fuck, I can. And it's been so long. And my body was like, yes, finally, we're home. So that was, yes, next level. I was super exhausted afterwards. That was not in the party mood after that, but it was a very, yeah, it was a new level of, yeah, being there for myself and giving myself that pleasure that I often give to others without actually getting back.
Yeah.
Mm.
I was so moved by that performance because I remember, like, because you start with this beautiful dress and you're like slowly unlayering yourself.
Yes.
And there were like no words, but you can feel it. You could so
Mm.
feel each unlayering leading you deeper and deeper into your feelings and into your emotions. Um, yeah, it's a powerful practice, and I'm wondering if that like helps you actually drop into your feminine more, like
Mm.
that practice. Like, where do you like? I'm curious. Like, where do you go, or do you have even words for it? Because it doesn't seem like there's even words. You're just like somatically processing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to rope, I would say it's quite of a balance in between, because tying is very masculine. You're kind of very logic way of holding the space. So it's I noticed like when I'm tying, it's kind of in the masculine holding, and then especially when it comes to suspension, because it's so much more of a contrast of the effect of the body of letting go. Um, so yeah, it is hard to put words into it because I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck is this? What magic are we actually doing? And for me, it's also to hear how much people feel it without really me saying anything. And you also seeing it through the screen, even. I'm like, how is that possible?
Right?
Yes. Like that must be that says something too. And I was also quite amazed how many people I made cry during that performance. I'm like, yep, that's my level of like to know if I did a good job or not. It's like if I made people cry, then we're like we did a good job.
Right.
Made people
I
feel something.
Oh no, go ahead, please complete. Yeah, that's exactly what I just wanted to validate what she's saying. I did see people were in tears. Like people were
Mm.
moved. They couldn't keep their eyes off of the performance, and I could
Hmm.
feel the audience. And that I'm like, oh my God, I need to go to Norway to go see this in person. Like it's so magical. But yeah, I definitely feel that. There's no words for it. And it seems
Hmm.
like maybe you interchange between the masculine, the feminine, and in between. Like it's just a
Yes.
dance of everything.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so
But
beautiful.
aren't there any kind of Shibari performances in LA? I bet there must
Oh,
be quite many.
there's so many. There's so
Yeah.
many. There's so many people who do shibari out here. But your take on your movement is so like authentic.
Mhm.
Like it's a performance, but it's not a performance. I don't know how to describe that. You
No,
know,
it's a ritual.
it's
That's what I
a
say. I
ritual.
also say it's not a performance because I'm not performing for you. You just get the privilege of watching me doing something that I want to do,
Right.
and my
Yeah.
enjoyment. This is for my enjoyment, and you get to watch it. And I also am an exhibitionist, so I do like when people watch me
Yeah.
in that way. But yes, it is. I when I practice, when I do these kind of rituals and performances, is like tuning into what do I want to do? How do I want to move? What feels good for me? And not doing it because, oh, this looks good. There's definitely that little voice in behind my brain because I am a performer, but I'm trying to tune in more to like, okay, what feels good for me? And I think that's what you kind of can see much more compared to a regular, dance performance.
Got it. Like it's like a felt experience, and it's going to depend it from like moment to moment what moves through you and what comes out.
Yeah. Hmm.
Then the other aspect of it is that you are dressed differently each time, because I realized that performance that I watched, it was kind of like a Victorian style outfit that you had on. So I'm kind of curious about like different characters that maybe come out to play, because my background is clinical psychology, and I like to explore archetypes. And
Mhm.
like if you look at Jungian archetypal like medicine and wisdom, people can play out different roles, right, within
Yeah.
themselves. So I'm curious, like, are there particular roles that come out that are paired up with the feelings? Because I know it's very somatic, but I'm curious about like the outfit choice and maybe even the rope color, the colors you're using. You know what I mean?
So I love everything of the beauty to the eye,
Yeah.
in that way. And for the self-suspension, that was for a like Marie Antoinette ball. So it was gala. It was that kind of feeling from before, but that's my favorite era is the
It's
ball gowns.
gorgeous. I love it.
Yes. And I'm very blessed to have my own costume designer who can help me build this stuff. So and I also noticed that usually for my other Shibari performances, I do love to be extra. This is when I have like an old wedding dress from Madrid or yes, something more royal in that way.
I
Because I
love
love the contrast of, okay, let's go into rope. And then we have something very beautifully feminine, but also,
right.
masculine. And playing with that. I think it's more about it gives me confidence and I feel good and I become like a peacock to
I
like
love
spread
it.
feathers in that
Right.
way.
You're like, spreading your wings, allowing
Mhm.
people to see you in your expression. Like it's a full expression. That's beautiful. Yeah, because I was curious about that. I'm like, I wonder how she gets into that character too. Um, I would run, not walk, to see Sophia's page on Instagram. And I'm gonna link all of that in the description below. Because her outfit choices and like the house, it just looks like a dream. You know what I mean? It's so ethereal and like, it feels like a dream. So definitely run to her page and look at the outfits. They're like stunning and gorgeous.
I
Um,
love to play.
I know. I love that.
That's
I love that about you. My question, I kind of want to backtrack, because I also relate to having that experience of um, being in two different cultures,
mm,
where I feel deeply American, but I'm also deeply Indian, and I'm
mm,
deeply connected to my Indian roots. And it's a big part of who I am. And you spoke about like being Norwegian and also being like this beautiful blend of like Asian, right? How does that impact like your work and who you are? Like how did that shift happen when it's kind of all like embodied?
mm.
Yeah.
I'm super grateful to be multicultural.
Yeah.
That is for sure. Because I feel like it automatically puts you outside the box and you kind of have to be like fend for yourself. What is your values? Who are you? I feel like especially for Norwegians, they have a very tendency to try to fit in all into that one box, and everybody's supposed to wear the same jacket, like the same things, it's very conformative. And when I was already outside that box, I tried to fit in, but it couldn't. It kind of gave me, yeah, much more confidence in that way, and also more the ability to see that there are so many perspectives out there. There is not only one truth. There are so many of them, and all of them are real and all of them are valid. And I think that helps when you are kind of multicultural, because you already know there is more out there in this world than the one culture that you kind of raised up in.
Right.
And give you the freedom to actually choose, like, oh, okay, what do I want? What resonates with me? What sounds totally off? But I would also say I'm also coming from a family where my Norwegian family is very typical Norwegians, I would say. But
Right.
my mother was always like the black sheep in the family. She was very alternative, which made it easy for me to then be even more alternative. She
Right.
kind of,
Pave the
yes,
way.
lead the way, and she was always very loving. Uansett. Like bla. Altså, hun elsket meg uansett. She loved me she loved me anyways. She loves me unconditionally.
There you go. No, it's
Yes.
beautiful.
So I could always be myself, and I always knew that I had my mother's support in that way. So I think that also kind of, helped me even more
Right.
in that sense.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, that's beautiful. Because, what I'm hearing is that what I sense too is sometimes Western culture can be very like limiting and in a box, right? Especially particular spaces. And then if we're a colorful personality and we had come from colorful cultures, it's easier to like break out into that, And what I love is that your mom kind of paved the way for you to be like this self-expression, um, magical being rather than suppressing that.
Yeah.
Because what I've noticed too in like deep colonial, patriarchal, sort of capitalistic spaces, you are having to fit into this thing. And I tried. I resonate with you. I tried and it doesn't work.
No.
I was in so much pain. I got sick. It pushes you out of that, right?
Mm.
And so were you ever trapped in that yourself? Did you ever find yourself like trapped in that type of thinking or that box? And how did that feel? Because for someone who's so expressive like yourself, I'm just curious how that felt.
I think the only time I felt that was at high school in Norway. I think that's
Mm.
where I really struggled to try to fit in and didn't work. And I still got commented on, and I was always the outsider. And I felt very alone in that. I was feeling a lot of loneliness. And I would say it's kind of more like the recipe that we are given. Like, you need to get a job, you need to do this, you need to get a kid's house, and like that structure there. I think that is more what I got stuck into, that I had to do. I had to produce. I had to produce as much as possible and most efficient as possible, because we have limited time. And I was like, okay, what can we do? How much can we fit into my schedule? And I think that is what I've just recently like, hey, fuck, slow down. I think that is the box that I just came out of, is like, we're running to just to fulfill, and we're always having 10 things on our agenda that's only technically room for two. That over consuming and overproducing, I think that's the box that I've been in, and that has been overwhelming. But like, I had to, like, before, I think I was just also closed off. I
Mm.
didn't feel that much. I didn't understand that much because I didn't know how deep you could feel. And I think that's the most issue maybe for many people, is that we're always on the surface level, because we have to survive. And if we, because of life is so intense, and if we um, try to, go deeper, we often just like close up and bottle it up and put it under the carpet because it's so intense. And then I think for me to be slapped in my face and be like, oh, fuck, working 16-hour days does not work in the long run. It pushed my emotions out. I like at work at my restaurant, I would suddenly start bawling, crying, and had to run out. And I was like, what's happening? Why am I suddenly crying? And that has been like the opening journey to like, okay, my emotions and then becoming sensitive. I think that's also what I'm also learning now is sensitivity is something that you can learn. We're all technically sensitive, but because of society today and living a city life, you have to desensitize. Like it's not possible to live in like I was in Berlin and that was so intense on my nervous system. I was like, oh my God, how can people live here? Because now I feel much more. I'm much more connected to my body and my senses because of that. So yeah, I think that's my main like coming out of the box of society.
I do see that because what came to mind is I think you had a Stara, like a community, right? That you were
Yeah.
kind of like really in, it seems like it was high production value, and then you kind of had to pump things out to get it going and running. And so you're realizing that's not how you work, and it takes you away from your sensitivity,
Mm.
right? And, so how do you find that balance? Because I know you're still a businesswoman, right? And we're sensitive beings, because I totally relate to that when society pushes you to produce, but you're like the sensitive being who thinks and feels differently, who doesn't know maybe quite how to get money to flow your way. I get a lot of questions on my podcast about that. Well, like,
Mm.
how do I get, money to flow my way and follow my passion and do what I love and be a sensitive being? And it seems like you have a good balance of that in some way.
It's test and error, no doubt. I feel like it was I like during Ostada with my restaurant bar, I had three businesses, so I had three legs to stand on. So like if one business was going bad, cool, I could live on another one, and like it was always um, a safety net in that way. But of course, in the long run, it's super tiring and kind of took the living life force out of me. And now when I closed down Ostada last year, I think it was November. I was like, whoo, oh, anxiety. Oh shit. Can I pay my loan in that sense? Like I was really doubting myself and really afraid. Basically, I was letting fear. And then what I did then was like, okay, no, Sophia, breathe. It's okay. You got this. And I did the somatic practice, like, Sophia, you're safe. I got you. We will always figure it out. We have a support system to fall back on. I do have money from closing down. So it was just all in my mind and kind of that pressure that society always gives us because we have so many bills to pay and there's so much things that we need to take care of. So I think that was one step of when I do get these anxiety feelings, I always like, okay, it's okay. We're good. We're safe. And I think what also I love ChatGPT, unfortunately, for many reasons. And one reason is definitely like, hey, what is my money wound? Why I'm not attracting abundance? What do I need to reflect on, And doing that also with tarot cards as well, just to like me able to reflect what is actually my core wound here. I think that was also my step now. Okay, cool. How do we bring abundance? How do we lean into the uncertainty as well? So that has been two practices that has kind of helped me in being more calm in the uncertainty of when are we getting money? When is it not? So we don't know, but it's okay. We got this.
That's so beautiful that someone is like magical and like sensitive and deeply like in your feelings, in your emotions, like yourself. You also have your toolkit, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not just hitting life uh, as a match, because a lot of times people are airy about it, but you're like very
Yes.
grounded. You bring your tools in. Like you're doing
Hmm.
the self-talk, you're noticing when, you need that self-soothing to happen,
Yes.
and then
Mm.
move from that reflective space and ask questions is what
Mm.
I'm hearing. Um, and what's magical about that is, because I don't think many people know how to get there. And so I'm wondering, do you do sessions? Like if people can find you, like do you do one-on-one sessions to help people kind of tune into like their magical self? Because that's what I see that you do is like you create experiences for people to be and to
Mm.
witness and, just to be able to feel themselves and you, right?
Mm.
So, yeah, I'm curious about that because I'm sure sometimes people reach out to my guests asking for sessions and, so I'm curious,
Mm.
do you do that or is that something that you want to do?
So it's not something I currently do. What I do is like Shibari sessions because that's like something that's more in a container that I am very comfortable with. I
Mm,
feel like I am still discovering. I'm still figuring it out. I don't feel that I am um, that I've been doing this for long enough to be like, oh yes, I know all the steps. It's more like, okay, if you haven't gone to somatic therapy, go to somatic therapy. That's like number one, I would say, to just like get in contact with your body and how your body communicates. But now it has been like going into like consulting for like, okay, let's talk about loneliness, because that's something I do feel like I'm getting more grip on because I have been dealing it consciously for 4 years. And yes, about groundness and all this, I feel like I just got my roots last December, so I'm still
mm.
like freshly out. um, but more like one-on-one consulting is more like I feel like is like let's just have a talk and let me see if I can help you, but I will help you more in the way of telling my own story as an inspiration, not to tell you this is what you need to do because hey, you got a different life. I don't know. I don't know enough. But we do learn a lot from, just getting inspired by, oh, okay, let's try this out and see if that works for me. Maybe not, or maybe it does.
I love that. I love the integrity that you have with that of like I'm on my own process and I'm not going to tell you what you need to do with your life,
Yes.
because you're in your own process, but you can be like a mirror, you can support.
Yes.
I love the integrity with that too because I think many times people run for the teacher's position and I'm like, do we have mastery there to be having
Yes.
hot takes on this?
Yes.
Right. I definitely get that. So
Yeah, we
yeah, go
we
ahead.
often I was gonna say that like we often also see that in workshops and festivals and facilitators how we don't have any like school or thing you have to go through. People just like up their ass like, oh, I can hold a workshop in this. Let's do that, and no really knowledge of okay, hey, maybe you need to be trauma informed before you're holding a workshop in boundaries and consent. I think there's a lot of oh, let's do it. But then again, hey, that's what we're supposed to do. Trial by fair. Trial and take it till you make it. So it's like also that balance there that is like, what is okay, what is maybe wait a little bit.
Right. Especially if it can cause harm to another, I think definitely
Hmm.
wait, right?
Yes.
And it sounds like, do you teach Shibari? Is that mainly your work, right? Because I feel like your work is so magical. I can't encapsulate it in one like sentence or word,
Yeah.
word. So I'm just curious how people can find you because I know you have a house, right, that
Yeah.
you rent out. You do Shibari, you do all these magical things. So I would love for folks to like get an idea of how to work with you or see you perform in the future.
Hmm. I would just say reach out to me if you're interested. But yeah, follow my Instagram because Instagram is usually what I promote everything with now, technically.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm still figuring out what I want to do now and what is coming to me in the year of the horse. I'm like, okay, what's gonna
Oh my
come?
gosh. And what do you have planned for like this energy? Because I know it's intense. We're shedding. We're in the snake shed, which is painful as fuck, right? It's painful. It's
So much,
painful.
so much shedding. Oh my God.
So much shedding. And a snake when it sheds, like it's not a pretty process for the snake. It's like nearly feeling like death. And so before we get on the horse and start riding it out, like are you feeling the death of the snake into the, the horse? Yeah, how is that
But
going for you?
no, it's funny because I am Chinese, but I never really been feeling the Chinese years or have any connection with it before the snake year. I was like, oh my God, this
Oh my
is so
God,
online. This is
what a
ridiculous of
year.
yes, of like how on point it is. And this is actually the first year I was like, I want to celebrate Chinese New Year's. I want to get in touch with my roots because my Asian family is more Vietnamese, and that's kind of, and they all live in America, so they're still very Americanized.
Wow.
So I noticed how like I want to understand more of these years and also celebrate them more, but also invite more reflection around it. Because this is what I've been doing now is like, okay, the snake year, what have we let go? What do we need to more let go of so we can introduce this year of the horse even better and embody it even more? So I think that's been the main point of really like being able to reflect more and know what do I need, what is still I need to let go of, um, and what do I need to be mindful of the horse here? Because horse is intense. It is fire horse. It's like, I'm like, okay, we know self-care. Self-care, slow it down. Don't go slow. That's what I definitely learned. But I am kind of just gonna try to be open to what is ever coming to me because this is also my year where I do not take all the initiative and see what comes to me when I stop taking initiative. And I think that's gonna be the best shit because I don't have to plan or think or anything of the future. Then I'm just like relax, surrender what comes to me, and feel the abundance, and then therefore also be able to trust it more because that's always
Right.
a thing like post at an event, I don't sell out.
Right.
Okay, what does this mean? And they're like, no, it's okay. It's okay. It has its purpose.
That makes a lot of sense. So, you're really taking the time to reflect before you hop on the horse and go,
Mhm.
you know? And so, for those who don't know, do you know the elements of what the horse here looks like? Or what does it feel like? What are you feeling into when you're tuning into it? I'm curious.
So what I've read a little bit, and I am not that good on it yet because I recently just
Do?
started to
Yeah.
understand it. But it is very easy as okay, think the energy of a horse, but
Right.
it's not a regular horse that's tamed. It's a wild horse. So you feel
Yes.
that force of a wild horse running the woods. It is
Right.
stamina. It is hard. It's like power, um, and it's bringing a lot of force to things.
Exactly.
And in addition, it's a fire horse. So then you have fire, you know the element of fire. Like that's just like burning things and making it explosive. And it just like it takes everything down. So I'm just bracing myself. It's gonna be an intense year.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, it's already been intense, but in another way. So
Right.
I am kind of eager to see what this year brings. And I feel like also what I'm thinking about now is like I'm so looking forward to after what there is 12 zodiac signs. Oh, I think so. To see after 12 years, how's my horse here now in 2026 and how is it in the future or the third one and really can be able to,
Track it.
um,
Yeah.
track it, but also you have more perception of time basically as well and your own self-development because that's what I thought also was nice too when I did a kind of reflection over the snake year. I also did this in a painting and try to make it nice for myself, and I'm like, this is really cool to have that in 20 years and actually see what was I going through when
Oh,
I was
it'd be so cool.
34.
Right, exactly. Like to
Mhm.
really be able to feel that year and then track it using, not the Gregorian calendar, but like a
Mhm.
different set of like the real new year. I like to
Mhm.
feel that this
Yeah.
is the real new year because
Yes, I agree.
most traditions are, celebrating spring around that time. Um, so here's a heavy question. It's a little heavy, it's a little intense, and I think we spoke about it before. We're watching the year of the snake shedding around the world. We're seeing that people are um in like deep suffering, and they're really going through real like regime changes. Like it's a mess. America is a mess, as you guys know. I'm sure you guys hear more because it's kind of messy here, and we hear a lot of voices. And I know the listeners that I have, especially on YouTube, they're from all around the world. And I know a lot of people feel like uncertain about these times. So I'm curious, like, what's your medicine been for times like this? And how do you tune into your joy despite that? But also, because I don't think you spiritually bypass because of the work I've seen you do. That's why I'm like, I gravitate towards you. Like, you have this balance between pleasure, play, but also not avoiding shit, and not avoiding the shadow and doing the deeper work. So, what's some, like, I guess, tips you can offer people or just like insight, you know?
Yeah.
It might be a heavy question.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love heavy questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Bring me the darkness, bring me the deepness. I eat this for breakfast, so yes,
Oh,
please.
love it.
This is what brings me energy. I'm noticing as well.
Yeah.
I'm more excited. Um, no, I think that's very hard because I would love to mention that I am coming from a privileged state of, living in Norway and always kind of had money in more or less sense and not experienced war or famine or suffering in that kind of sense. I do not know how that is. I only know my own suffering and what my friends are going through, my family, and the kind of more of the traditional, not traditional, but in this kind of culture suffering. And for me, so yes, Scorpio moon. So that draws me to the darkness. I am supposed to, give light into the darkness. And it's for me, yes. And then it's about pain, of learning about pain and learning about death, because these are two things that humans in general are very afraid of and fearful of. And that has been my journey to actually accept it and lean into the pain. And when I am feeling so depressed and everything is just like the life has gone out of me, I just cry and cry and cry. There's never ending. And being, of course, in those moments, you just want to run away. And for me, it's been the more practice of like, okay, what do I need? Okay, do I just need to cry? Okay, cool. And it's hard to feel like, okay, this is gonna go over because in the moment you're like, it's never gonna be finished. It's yes, having these techniques of groundingness and how do I touch my body? What does my body need for this? Um, and when it comes to all the shit that is going on in this world, oh, for me there, when I was young, I was very passionate. I felt everything. And in the long run, it's not sustainable either. For me, my motto has been like, you have to pick your fights. And you have to pick your responsibility. What are you responsible for? And my gift and my passion is, healing through sexuality and working against shame around our bodies and our feelings. And this is what I can bring life and joy into this world. Of course, I do feel sometimes guilty that I'm not protesting for the Palestinians in that way. But again, it's for me, for my own mental health. I cannot do everything at all at once. That is not possible for me. I, of course, have compassion and can help in the ways that I can. Like boycotting. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can do that. For me, it's finding what can I help. It's kind of like, negotiating your boundaries and what do you have capacity for? And really being honest about it and not shaming yourself for it. But yes, there is yes, and also a quote that helped me a lot. I also was listening to another podcast, and it was like quoting Jesus, which thought was very interesting. I never quote Jesus, but he said like, Father, forgive them. They do not know any better."
Mm.
And that's we humans don't know shit. We are still like in the phase of understanding our feelings and expressing it. Like, of course, like it is something that how we go to war. Like, why do humans go to war? It is so ridiculous. But if you look into history, you look into like, the chimpanzees compared to the bonobos, like it is in our genes as well. Like it is in our history. And kind of just accepting that we humans are fucking stupid and we were trying our best. But fighting it and kind of like kind of resisting it basically of like we shouldn't have these people, they should not be allowed, like we like trying to resist their existence is just bringing more frustration in you basically. And I would say, yeah, the learning of acceptance of the suffering that is in this world, I think that's also what humans who came here to this world is about to learn. That's like the most hardest thing to learn is the duality of the good and the bad, because of our history. It's like, oh no, good, we only want good. And it's like, no, we also have bad, and that's also part of life. And I think that's kind of like the balance in life that we need, is to be able to see both the light and the dark. And bring them kind of together. Yes, I think that's
That's a beautiful answer.
came out of me now.
No, I love that answer. I agree with you. Those of us who, have a lot of privilege, we don't know how to help, and we can you don't want to get lost in fighting every cause and fighting everything because we don't have capacity. But what you do have capacity for, show up with responsibility, which I agree with you. I think the way we can help the most is to honor and acknowledge human suffering, see it
Mm,
for what it is.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, I really do believe people just want to be seen and witnessed
Mm,
in
yeah.
whatever they're navigating. And
Mm,
it's so beautiful that you found that balance between understanding the duality and how life works,
mm,
and also not losing yourself in it,
yeah.
right?
Mm,
That's beautiful because I also agree with you. I'm in the
yeah.
same boat where
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, free Palestine and, everything that's happening in the state, everything,
There's a big list.
right? Everything.
Mm,
And I deeply see and honor that. And there's like an ethical integrity, I think, as healers, where we get to honor that, but also take care of your nervous system, take care of you, honor that, take care of your community that you
mm,
interact with every single day, right?
mm.
And yeah, I love that message.
Yeah.
So
I like
thank
also
you.
what you said there of people just want to be seen.
Yeah.
And that is true. They just want to be validated for their pain and for their suffering or for what they're doing. And that is the most powerful thing is to give somebody just that.
Yes.
You don't
Yeah.
have to do so much. It's just literally listening to them and yeah,
Right.
validating them, seeing them in their
Yeah.
human experience. Mm.
I agree with you. Yeah, exactly. Because I think a lot of the times what happens in the wellness space is sometimes we either reject it too much or we're all about it, right?
Mm.
And I think there's a sweet in between spot of like honoring, witnessing, observing,
Mm.
what's happening
Mm. Mm.
and responding accordingly rather than reacting to everything. Because I think a lot of
Yes.
times people are just like reacting, and that's
Mm.
fine because sometimes we need the sacred rage to, like, the mother's rage, the
Yes.
planet has of like protecting the
Yes.
planet,
Kali energy. Let's
yeah,
go.
the calling. Right. And I think we need the Aphrodites and the beauty and the, all of that too, because I also believe that energy is seeking harmony,
Mm.
right? So some of us can hold those codes. So I love that. Like we can hold both. We can honor the suffering. We can honor that, do the things you need to do, but also bring your art into the
Mm.
world and create a
Mm.
better world. I love that. We are coming to the end of the hour, but I want to, you know, kind of give you the stage or the space to share anything that is moving through you, anything that you feel like has been left unsaid, like anything your throat wants to share, your heart, your womb, you know, anything.
Um, I feel like I can share what has been going on alive in me right lately as well with
Yeah.
the snake here, and that I guess people also can resonate with. And it is leading into this uncertainty that nothing is like the impermanence. Because this year has been the snake. I've been letting go, of my business, of, going into my abandoned moon, losing people. And I thought I had, let go of a lot. And then like these last 3 weeks, it's just like, oh, the people that I called my chosen family, one by one, fell apart. And I was like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? And all three totally different reasons of the people that I call my closest. And I feel like because I've been letting go of so much this year, it was almost like, okay, we are in a grieving period. We have done this before. We are going in it again. And then kind of going into like, okay, is anything permanent? Can I really truly believe that if they're here close, if you call them like this, then they will stay here forever? Because I
Right.
noticed that even like, when I cuddle my kitty, I'm like, yes, stay, stay. 'Cause it's my body more like, no, don't leave me, don't leave. Like I'm so bracing because
Right.
I'm afraid that they're gonna leave me. But they're going to leave you one time or another. Um, and kind of leaning into that kind of suffering, but then having yourself as that compass, at that ground is like, it's okay because I got myself.
Oh,
I don't lose myself because I'm losing them. And that when, again, a door closes, another one opens. And for me, is now learning to trust that, okay, they might come back, they may not. I do not know. Unfortunately, my history, people do not come back. But for me is now accepting that people come and people go, and there are some people who are coming here just for a period of your lifetime to teach you a lesson or to open up your heart or really teach you something in life, and that is good enough. Those 4 years, okay, wow, appreciate them and really like, cherish them, and then like learn to let go. Oh my God. Literally,
so
things
hard.
have
Yeah.
things will die, flowers die.
Yeah.
Really not being afraid of death in that way. Death of relationships, death in itself, death of the structures. So for me now, it's going through a period that's scary because I'm like, oh God, I have to start again now with building relationships, and I got my trust issues. All this is going to take forever.
Yeah.
But then just thinking, no, something's better is coming out. They fall apart because something wasn't actually sustainable. It didn't really work, and I'm also done pushing stuff. Like we can't keep pushing. So that's like was another level of like, okay, slap in the face, great. Mm, okay, what is next? And like kind of doing my grieving, allowing myself to cry and taking extra rest. And if at days I feel like I have no motivation, cool, we don't do anything then. We just, smoke weed and watch Netflix. That's also totally
Exactly.
okay.
Right. Oh my gosh, those self-soothing days. I love
Mhm.
that so much because I think people are going through that, like the death of relationships, the death of systems, like you said so beautifully. Like there's so much collective death going on. And then at the personal level, like to honor it, to be with it, be with the dying process is what you're saying. Like
Yes.
with the relationship and not knowing it's not going to come back is like such an interesting space to be in. So thank you for sharing that. I'm sure so many people can relate to that right now,
Mhm.
especially. Um, and then, I know I already asked about the year of the horse for you, but like I'm really curious. Do you think the year of the horse will be because I think it's going to be very intense. I do. I do think it's going to be very intense. And I ride horses because I do a lot of like horse therapy work, and
Ah, nice.
so a part of like the the therapy that I do with horses is that, you have to be one with the horse to really get it to move with you. And a horse will like mirror back to you like your own energy and your own frequency. So it tells on you. The horse tells on you, So this being a fire horse, I think it's going to be so powerful for us to honor the sacred death and then get on the horse and really know how to steer it. Like we're not going to go running. You have to kind of feel into the horse first, and know, can my thighs handle, navigating this like
Yeah.
amazing animal, right?
Mhm.
And so, that's one of the things that I like to tell people too. Like it is the year of the horse, but you're going to have to learn how to steer the horse, you
Yes.
know?
And by doing that, you need to learn how to steer yourself,
So
feel yourself. Like what you're saying is like they're mirroring you. So what is going on with you? Learning to feel like, okay, now it's too much. Now I need a rest.
yeah.
And yeah, tuning into yourself more to know how to navigate the intense year ahead.
Right. I know. I would even recommend people go spend time with horses and like find out like how, your energy is because they will tell you exactly where you're at, because they're so powerful. But it being a fire horse, I'm like, oh my God. I need to ask you, Sophia, how are you? Are you like, are some reflection questions coming through about that? Because I know you're such a channel for like the reflection questions. Has Chat GPT told you anything about the fire horse here?
So when I drew a card, I don't remember what it was, what it was about again, but I got the card Justice for
Oh,
2026. Uh, I'm
okay.
not, do you know what the Justice card means?
I mean, it's interesting because right now in the collective, there's so many injustices happening. But then, I hate to bring it up, the Epstein files, like all these names are out in the open, like all the crimes against humanity and women and children and all of that's committed. That's where my mind goes. I'm like, are
Yeah.
we going to get to an internal justice and an outer justice?
Mhm.
Um, a balance?
Yes, right.
I'm a
Mhm.
Libra, so oftentimes I get the justice card. Justice matters a lot
Ah,
to me.
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But what do you think? I'm curious.
Yeah, no, I am I'm usually not really good at like what's going to happen in the future. I'm more like observer. I'm like, okay, let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
Or like
I'm really
reflection questions, like reflection.
yes.
Yeah, I hear you though. It's like you can't precognitively guess, right? Yeah.
No, I'm really bad at like doing predictions in the future because we never know what's going to happen in the future, and I do feel that often what happens is I get expectations, and then the
Yeah.
expectations don't happen. Then you get then you feel
I feel you.
disappointment on that role. So
Yeah.
I've been just like, okay, no, we just go on the roller coaster and then we see what happens.
I love it. Yeah. Observe. Observe and
You
find
observe.
out.
Yes.
What do they say? Fucking find out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have the safety net. They just makes like it is scary and it is uncertainty and there is suffering. So what do you need to be able to endure it? And like, we all need different things. And I feel like I
Yeah.
found finally what I need and what my body needs to feel safe and grounded. And then all this other stuff that comes is like, okay,
It comes and
we
goes.
see. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Right. And Shibari is one of those tools,
That
right?
is also
Right, to
definitely.
keep you grounded. Ah, this was so lovely. Like I feel like I want to keep talking to you. I would love to have you on for future podcasts if you're open to it and have time and energy because I know you are very, very busy. Sophia is very busy. I see she's always like doing stuff.
I'm slowing down. I'm slowing down now. I got more time
Yeah,
to do stuff. But
right.
yeah, no, I really appreciate this talk. It was really nice. It was definitely more of the deeper conversation podcast that I've been to, so I really appreciate that. So thank you for reaching out and asking me.
Yeah, oh, it's such an honor. And like honestly, the pleasure is all mine. And our viewers are really gonna enjoy this. I can really feel it. But everyone, please tune into Sophia and all her offerings. Like I really mean it. Like you feel her performances, you feel what she's doing, and I think that's a good indicator of like someone really like I think mastering them or trying to master, their craft. And I think you are because I don't know how you feel about that word, but I'm like, I think you're a pretty good um, teacher in just your embodiment. And
Mm.
so please like reach out to her. I'm sure like she'll have beautiful shares and answer all your questions. And I'll link her page, her website, and all her like information down below. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining us, you guys. And Sophia is just like such a treat. And if you have any questions in the future, I'll pass them along to her. And Sophia, would you like to, say anything to guide us out?
Guide us out. No, sure, sure, no,
There you
not,
go. Perfect.
not in particularly. Yes, just what I love is I can be myself, and people feed on that, and learning more to just be expressive. I would say of making weird sounds and being goofy and yeah, doing mistakes, and it's okay.
And that's okay. Yeah.
It's okay.
I love goofiness. I'm just like in podcast host mode right now, but I'm goofy all the time too. So I get you. I totally like resonate with it and feel you. And there are no
Yeah.
mistakes. That's what I love about this podcast. It's all organic and
Right.
take what you can and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Yes. And if you ever come to Norway,
Oh,
you know where to find me.
yes. She's also renting out her space. So if you guys want to rent out her space in Norway, you know, I'd love to come out there too. So yeah.